What's going on? You listen to King Cam and Ujumbe podcast and Ujumbe means message. And today's message is the Black History Moment. We're going to talk about Sarah Rector, the child millionaire. I teach a lot of students and I teach economics, and it's good to discuss people who were young and they made some pretty good money and they did well with their money. So Sarah Rector was born March 3rd, 1902 in Oklahoma. And when she got a little older, a small parcel of land was given to her 60 miles from where she lived. And at the time, it was considered infertile soil. Basically, you couldn't farm there. You couldn't do anything agriculturally in that area. But her father, Joseph Rector, leased the land to a company called Standard Oil Company, and in 1913, get this, they produced about 2,500 barrels of oil in one day. Man, that's a lot, right? So Sarah, she received a daily income of $300, and back then $300 a day is a lot. And for some young people I know $300 a day is nice. In fact, for me, let me think about that. I like a little extra $300 a day, right? But did you know that Oklahoma law did not allow Black youth to maintain the land that was allocated to them? Yeah. So in 1913, the law required that the land be that belonged to Native Americans, Black adults, even Black children, to be given over to quote unquote well-respected white guardians. Remember, this land was considered what? Infertile. So now all of a sudden, when we're dealing with this oil and money ever flowing like this, now we have to get that land over to well-respected white guardians. This resulted in getting the NAACP, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, involved, where they sent agents, individuals, as well as investigators that review cases. And though some of those claims they worked on was encourage people to speak up and speak out, and some of those cases were dealing with depriving Black children of the land and their wealth. That's why it's so important. A lot of people are not into paperwork and things like that. It's important to have that every now and then. It's important to have some kind of documentation showing that you own this. Ownership is important, y'all. And so they did have some agents going out there to not just investigate, but also to help the family. And as she got older, she took advantage of her opportunity, and she would later graduate head of her class at Tuskegee, then Tuskegee Institute, now Tuskegee University. Sarah Rector, a child millionaire, would later own stock, real estate, and several businesses. So she didn't just squander her money, balling out of control. She actually put it to some good use. Okay, she used it for investments and land and real estate and so on. I encourage you guys to do the same. Okay, if you had $1 million, or if you struggle rich, y'all can tell me. Y'all can, if you're on YouTube, you can hit the comment button. Comment, let me know. Subscribe and comment, let me know. If you had $1 million, right, or even just a substantial amount of extra money, what would you do with that? What would you do with that? Y'all can tell me in the chat or whatever, and we're gonna roll with that. But my name is King Cam. This is King Cam and Ujumbe's podcast, and Ujumbe means message. And today's message is Sarah Rector, the child millionaire. We're gonna do more like this. We're gonna do it again in another week. And if you're following me on King Cam and Ujumbe podcast, follow me on the podcast, and we're gonna talk about a lot of things. We're gonna get into it. There are some discussions in our community that need to be had. We're going to talk about self-care. We're going to talk about history and faith. I know if you ever want to be on the show, let me know. Email me, contact me. Okay, markdcameron@gmail.com, and we'll go from there. If you have your own business, if you want to talk about your business or your new venture, okay, we can talk about it. Or if you're doing good in the community, if you're uplifting the community, making change, I want to hear that too. All right. But yeah, I'm glad that I hope all is well with you guys and in this Black History Month. Some of our beloved HBC, well, most of them, beginning of Black History Month, got that good old um, communication that they have bomb threats. And I'm like, come on, y'all. You know, and they're doing it to our schools. And so a lot of schools where they have to close, and but education continues. And of course, we're resilient and we're going to keep it moving. But my thing is, I've always tell people my love for history started with my family history. So when I talk about history, it's coming from a personal viewpoint. And so we will talk a little bit more about history. Some people will say we shouldn't. Well, I think we should. I teach history. I teach social studies. We got to talk about those things, even the bad things. Why talk about the bad things? Why talk about those things? Well, so we can do better, right? So we can make moves, so we can make changes, make adjustments. No, you don't have to delete everything or trash out everything. Maybe that one thing that you need to change. And maybe that one thing is to change the future. All right? Change the world around you. Okay. Once again, it's King Cam Ujumbe podcast. Ujumbe means message. Today's message is Sarah Rector, child millionaire. This little Black History moment. Feel free to subscribe. We're available on all platforms, and I will talk to you guys later.